Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, I'm very well. How are you?
Doing okay, man. Doing okay. Still recovering from a amazing event. We had the Alpha Reset just a few days ago over here in Bend, Oregon, and just as you know, Tim, it's a life-changing event for all the not only all the men that attend, but also for the coaches and the volunteers. You can't help but get swept up in all of it.
Yeah, it really is. Just to be in that conversation so frequently, right? It's incredible. It's have 9 guys there, usually around 9 guys anyway. And although they go through it once, it's like we go through it 9 times, right? Because you're so connected to every guy and you're so invested into each of their journeys. And I'm sure those guys go through it as well, right? Because they're so connected to each other as they go through it. They bond in such an incredible way. So it's unfair of me to say they only go through it once, because I'm sure they don't. But yeah, it's a privilege and a gift to be involved in that conversation, because it just sharpens your saw, right? As you ask the men the questions and they tell you what's going on for them, you inevitably see yourself in their story. As you reflect on where you may not be stepping to the line, and where you get to improve, and where you get to change, and yeah, just everything. So I'm really pleased you were able to be there.
Oh, it was awesome. And, to give those guys, the listeners who may not know, the Alpha Reset is kind of our flagship transformational event. So all of these men have graduated from the activation method, which is our entry-level program. And then these guys have continued on with us with the Brotherhood, which is one of our 1-year mastermind coaching programs that we have. And the first event is the Alpha Reset. And we've been doing the Alpha Reset, gosh, Tim, for 4 years now. And we get the same comments every time from all the guys, which is, this is the most life-changing experience I've ever had. And it was really cool. One guy, we were kind of just doing a debrief. And if you guys can imagine, it happened to be 8 men sitting around the couch, and they're just sharing, right? They're just talking about what the experience was at the end of this whole event, what it was for them. And one guy, who's just an amazing guy, said, look, I've actually been in therapy for 10 years, working on a couple of these issues. And he's been through a lot of other men's coaching programs. He's been through a lot of other personal development programs. He said, I anticipated another 10 years before some of these things, and I won't mention what they are, got handled. And he was able to address them and get over them in that short period of time. It was so beautiful. I mean, this guy is amazing. I mean, all the guys are. So absolutely fantastic. And I wish I would have wrote them down, Tim, because they all have nicknames now. They gave each other nicknames. So P3 went around and gave all the guys nicknames, and they came back and gave him the nickname of P3. So I won't say their names. P3, yeah.
That was P3.
Yeah, no, I'll break down who's who another time. I didn't write all the names down, but I'm pretty sure I have them. So we can talk about them a little bit in code, give them some more anonymity. But these guys did what we call stepping to the line. And to give you listeners an idea of what stepping to the line is oftentimes we know what to do, right? We have fear. We all have fear, whether it be fear of heights or fear of vulnerability of sharing that your marriage isn't working out, or fear of a business situation, whatever it may be. And the difference between a lot of men is some men step to the line. That means they, even though they're afraid, they do the right thing anyway, right? Kind of an analogy that I used during the event is, we look at a firefighter who runs into a burning house to save a child, right? He's afraid because he could die, get burned, but he does it anyway. And what do we call that? Courage. Stepping to the line is simply pulling out the courage within inside of you. And these events, are designed to put men outside of their comfort zones in a variety of ways. And, a lot of times guys think, well, how can all 8 guys achieve this result, right? They're all different, and they are. But there's a series of what we call invitations throughout this experience. And guys don't have to do anything, right? These are just invitations that we give them and exercises, and they could opt out of it if they want to. But all these guys know that there's been hundreds of men that have gone before them sitting on those seats. that all have, and this is the only thing I can say with certainty in my life, that 100% of the men that have come through the program have had a life-changing experience. So it's really incredible to see that play through. So absolutely amazing experience.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's not easy when you're in that environment as well, the Alpha Reset, because these guys, we don't tell anyone what goes on there. We don't release any pictures of what goes on there, no videos. So, and all the guys that come through it are kind of sworn to secrecy, if you will. And we don't get them to sign a contract, but just out of the respect for the other brothers within the movement and wanting them to have the experience that they have had, they know that part of the experience is to go into this feeling out of control to a degree because you don't know what's going to happen, but also trusting the process as well at the same time. So it's just that in itself, just turning up to the Alpha Reset requires courage, right? And then when you get there and the way the days are built on from one another and the environment and the music and everything, it's for men to actually graduate the Alpha Reset. And not everybody does. I mean, we've had one guy, I think from all the guys that have been through it, there was one guy where it just turned out to be too much for him. And he honestly just bolted. He said, I'm going to go to the toilet, and just bailed. Later regretted it, of course, but I wanted to go through it again, but it just wasn't the right thing. But the point I'm making is to your point of courage. Yeah, it takes a courageous man to accept the invitation to come to an Alpha Reset, and then even more so to play all out with the Alpha Reset, and then to stick with it throughout the 3 days and arrive at day 3. And you guys that are listening that have been to the Alpha Reset, you know what that feeling's like on day 3. It's complete liberation. There's just, there's not a feeling like it. It's very different to many of the feelings and experiences you have in your life. So to arrive at that point is just, take my hats off to these men, because it's courage is an understatement.
Yeah, and I think it's important to also just state that one guy that did leave, he just got triggered, right? So we all have a fight, or freeze response. Instead of fighting or freezing, he took off, and he came back and rejoined the program because he realized it was a huge mistake. He just got, he got triggered, then that, it's designed. A lot of us get triggered all times of things. And some of these triggers cause us to have arguments with our wives, even though we're at fault. And this guy just had a trigger occur for him. He took off, he left the event, no problem. And, he stated, it was one of the biggest regrets he's had, and he rejoined the program and came back. I think that's important for guys to know. Here's something. I'm just looking at a post. These guys have their own private community now that were all there. If you can imagine 8 guys being at an event. One guy, shared a song that resonated with him about the whole event. And then he said to the other guys, amazing, ? Life-changing, ? I've had a difficult time putting the right words on it. What I've come up with is as far as a description of the event was basically, hey, do you remember when you were kids before anything ever bad happened to you? The scars, the hurt. He's like, it feels like someone took a magic eraser to everything and brought me back to a place of peace that I have not had experienced in a very, very long time. And just absolutely powerful to see these guys stepping back in. Tim, these guys consistently stepped to the line. They consistently asked for the ball, so to speak, and they called each other out. Like this, they truly formed a brotherhood, unlike anything you'll see outside. Tim, you know it, so you're taking kind of what I'm saying for granted a little bit because you've been to so many of these. But if you imagine, do you have guys listening to this? Who are the men you spend the most time with? Are they guys that are lovingly going to call you forward to be the best man possible? Are they going to say, hey, look, you could be doing more. You're holding back. And that's what these guys did for each other because they all asked each other to do so. Right? They asked each other to ensure that they had an amazing experience, and they left it all there. And these guys, These guys are already, as soon as they got back, their wives and their kids had noticed a drastic difference. I mean, guys are having things happen that haven't happened since the beginning of their marriage. Only took one day to be back for this, for the people in their lives to go, whoa, you've changed. And it's the kind of change that people don't see, they feel. And that's a big difference that a lot of us can't get to. We try to say the right things. We might try to do validation techniques, the hidden motives technique, the clean slate method. We do these things, and until you embody them, that's a difference. It's just like, you can really tell when someone's being sincere. Like all of us have a BS, a bullshit meter, right? And we know when someone's bullshitting us, if they're complimenting us and they don't really mean it. Well, guess what? Your wife, your kids, the people around you, they have the same thing. They have the same exact meter. And these guys came home so full and complete and so transformed, and I'm not going to say specifically how, that everybody knew it. I mean, one guy shared a video of his wife dancing. Hopefully if she's listening to this, it was an amazing dance. And just doing things for them that haven't happened again since probably even before they were married. That honeymoon stage. And these men are doing really, really well. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm really glad that it's part of the brotherhood. I know we've had a lot of requests to actually offer this to guys that are alumni, and even guys that haven't been through the activation method are asking. A lot of guys are asking for this, so I have thought about potentially opening it up so we can help more men. But what I love about it being part of the brotherhood is that these guys are able to come through the alpha reset together and then continue together on as a brotherhood, in the brotherhood. And then like you saw in Tulum, right? So many of those guys, I think every guy but one had been to the alpha reset, and the camaraderie that they could then share and the stories they can share. And it was great. One night in Tulum, the guys all got up like, right, you're going through your alpha reset now. It's day 2. And they start playing the music and they start guiding this guy through it. And it's just awesome to see, because everyone, within the movement, it's just a fact. Everyone knows the possibility that a man has going into the alpha reset, and the chances are, given the kind of men that we work with, I love the kind of men we work with, they're going to take action, they're going to step to the line, and they're going to get the result 9.9 times out of 10, right? So it's phenomenal. It really is. It's so difficult to put into words. And that's why we started to do before and after pictures, didn't we? We went through this phase of trying to capture in a picture the shift that these men go through, because when they arrive, they're one color. When they leave, they're a completely different color as the life comes back into them, as they become feeling alive again and happy and joyous. And they go from frowning to just lightness. They literally look younger because the years of stress and anguish that they're able to just let go of, which might sound a bit weird if you're listening to this. And if I was listening to this, if I'd believe, I think, well, how's that? How does that work? But the reality is, think about it. If you're walking around holding on to years, decades of anger and guilt and shame and resentment, and if you were able to take 3 days and go through an experience where you could actually process that and release it, by default, you were going to feel lighter. You were going to look younger because you're not going to be frowning. You're not going to be as stressed. And it's this kind of shift that as they take this back home, even how they text their wife, the energy that's felt through the tonality of the text messages they send as they're leaving the alpha reset, even that the wife starts to feel the difference from them, let alone when she actually sees them and they're looking different and feeling different, and they then hold their wife in a different way. They hold their kids in a different way. And this change then lasts. It's just incredible. It really is. I'm very, very grateful to be part of it.
Oh, blessed beyond belief. And, I have their private chat pulled up on my screen just to read you that one. But if I can, Tim, let me read you a couple more because I know you don't have it, you haven't seen these yet because these just came in this morning. Uh, you got to remember these guys, a couple of these guys, one of the guys in particular that I'm going to mention here, I'm going to read his. I won't tell you which one. Well, anyway, you'll figure it out. He was wondering if he was going to stay married. It was that bad. Like his marriage was in a really rough spot. But let me read you two guys, and they're two separate ones that kind of gives you an idea of the outcomes. You guys will figure out what bagels stands for. So some of the guys use the term bagels as code. And this guy says, hey, well, guys, my wife wanted bagels before bed and woke me up this morning to finish them. I know that has never happened to me before. ... Trust me, I would remember if it had. I'm kind of a big shot. It's kind of an inside joke there. But you can see the idea that his wife feels the energy, feels enough energy to initiate sex with him at night and sex in the morning for the first time in his life. Like, that's a big deal, right? And he is a big deal. Another guy says, alpha reset plus 36 hours. No bagels yet, but I'm finally seeing a sparkle in my wife's eyes for the first time in years. Smiling and laughing has returned to the house. Even the kids are falling in line behind the new king. Biggest win so far? Walked up to my wife in the kitchen yesterday and silently grabbed her, pulled her in for a long, slow kiss. She kissed me back, rare, and we hugged for about 10 seconds. No words. After we separated, I looked over and my 9-year-old son was sitting in a chair watching us and was smiling from ear to ear. So far, so good. I mean, that's the thing, right? This is generational. And that's why it's so impactful to me is when I read that, right? First of all, this guy is amazing and he's able to bring smile and laughter back into his house. But look at that. Like, he and his wife reconnecting, that sparkle in his wife's eye for the first time in years. I've experienced that. And to get that back and that love and respect, it means the world to a man. But what really gets me is that your kids are always watching. They know. And for his 9-year-old son to watch him and smiling ear to ear because he sees mommy and daddy, right, coming together in a union of love that is undeniable, that's where it's at, right? That 9-year-old boy is going to grow up in a household that he is going to mimic, where love is there, laughter is there. That's the standard, right, guys? Don't we grow up and we think, nah, I'm not going to be like my dad or my mom. It's going to be different for me. And we start repeating those same patterns. Slowly but surely, we're like, crap, my dad used to do that. My mom did that. Now I'm doing the same thing. These guys use courage to step to the line to break these generational bonds, to break these patterns. So this gentleman's 9-year-old son repeats the pattern of his father and his mother, but that pattern is a pattern of love and laughter in his house. So this man's going to grow up having grandchildren in a house of love and laughter. And those grandchildren are going to grow up in a house of love and laughter. See, this perpetual bond, the chains that go generationally are now switching from one of bickering and fighting and where mom and dad are distant and cold to each other and divorce is always on the table to one of love and laughter. And that's going to carry on generationally, generation after generation. And people are going to say, hey, why are your parents always so amazing? And to their kids, they say, well, because grandpa or my father or my mother were like this. And they made a switch. They fought for it. And it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, I can go on and on because these, there's text messages these guys are sharing, say, I've never gotten a text from my wife like this. And it's not necessarily about sex. It's just about, I really enjoyed you yesterday. I enjoyed our conversations more than I ever have, with hearts and exclamation marks. It's intimacy. It's connection. It's getting back to like when they were dating. And this has only been a day and a half, right? Most of these guys, some of these guys have just got home, right? They're traveling. And it's that fast, guys. It really can go from divorce on the table, literally talking to lawyers, to love and connection in the home, laughter again. And it starts with that transition, starts with stepping to the line, starts with the courage. It's easy to talk about it. And I was talking to the guys about this, Tim. It's easy to talk about things and talk about change and try to do it, but you got to do the work. You got to do the work. You got to go through the activation method. It's just that leaves you the foundation. That's the basics, right? And that for a lot of guys, that's enough. And you continue on to the brotherhood and the alpha reset, and you're just going playing at a whole nother level. It's like going from, we call it freshman, basically fresh, soft, freshman, sophomore sports. A lot of times they combine those the first 2 years of high school here, to going to varsity, which is, the seniors or the pros. There's a gap there between the freshmen and the varsity players. Every once in a while, you get a freshman player who's just a stud that makes it to varsity. But, in a big school, it almost never happens. But these guys are stepping up. These guys are the guys playing the varsity leagues now. And we invited them forward. Just an invitation, as the guys heard me say a million times. Guys, there'll be a series of invitations. I've heard you say this countless times too, Tim, but they're just invitations, up to you. These guys accepted every invitation and just crushed it. And it was just absolutely an honor to work with all of them. I really feel blessed for what we're able to do and how we're able to help these guys and really just spend time with these guys.
Yeah, they're always amazing, man.
It is. It is. So guys, Tim and I are debating, are we going to open up the Alpha Reset up to more people? I'd like to know what you guys think about it. Are you guys interested in attending an Alpha Reset? Let us know in the Facebook group. That's the easy way for us to kind of get a sense of what's going on. We're just two guys. Of course, we have a team behind us that are much smarter than we are. But we'd love to hear from you guys. You guys are listening. Let us know what you want. Would you be interested if we opened up the Alpha Reset to more guys? We're working on the logistics here right now as it go through it. But I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. Go over to the Facebook group. And if you haven't already, make sure you head over to thepowerfulman.com, right? And you can actually get all of the podcasts right there. I know a lot of guys have reached out asking where they can get past episodes because either iTunes or Spotify might not have them. We have all the episodes, over 400, right on the website for you to access. You can also access a lot of them on YouTube, Spotify, and any other player that you're looking for. So guys, as always, the Moment Insight takes some action. And I want to give a shout out to the men that were at the Alpha Reset Bend, Oregon. You guys are true studs, and I'm excited to continue to watch your journey. The rest of us, have an amazing week and always take action. We'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.